Hey guys, I'm Bryan Scheidler, creator.
And I am Stephanie Tate, the producer.
So you guys have heard how Bryan and Stephanie joined us, and Stephanie stepped in I have to say one of the least exciting but most important roles for us because Megan and I we were full steam ahead making this game, and then there was the whole yes, but what do you plan to do after you have it? And that's where Stephanie really jumped in and saved our bacon.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that.
Well, Stephanie, you have had experience doing Kickstarters and starting a business.
I have, yeah. And I've also produced a lot of things. And so I know how important it is to be able to honor both where the artists are in a project, but then also honor the project and really making sure that it's going to be the best thing it can be. Because it's one thing to just be like, I'm going to put out any old content. And it's another to be able to put something out there and in 10 to 15 years be really proud of it still and say, you know what, I did it right.
And that was key because we did want to do this right, especially once we started, putting spending money on it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is she introduced us to something called a calendar, and before we had started, actually, making the thing, and I was just kind of working on this, I would only work on it on weekends, and sometimes it would be like weeks or months in between when I'd pick up my sketchbook and I'd be like, oh yeah, I was working on a game. I should get back to it. But Stephanie really kept us on track, and not just me. All of us had things on the schedule. Stephanie was really good about making sure that happened. Um, do you have a problem cracking the whip on?
I
on
don't.
people?
I mean, I feel like after all these years of you and I actually working together, you know that whip cracking is actually something that is on my resume. I am very good at it. Yeah, because the thing is, it is easy, especially when you're in the middle of something like a pandemic, to lose all sense of time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you also have to have an end goal, right, and an end date, because otherwise it's just going to keep going. And there's this really wonderful analogy I got from one of my past producing partners where she said, it's like a Thanksgiving turkey. At some point, you're just down to the bone and you have to stop fiddling with it. And that's the thing, like with this game, if you didn't have a deadline in mind, if you didn't say, this is when the art's going to be done, this is when the designs, the graphic design and putting everything together is going to be done, this is when we're going to have the bank account, this is when we're going to have the Kickstarter, this is when we're going to have all of the legal stuff done, it's just going to keep getting kicked down the road, and it'll just become this almost like this nebulous thing that's like always around, and you'll keep changing it and keep changing it and keep changing it, and it'll never go out.
And that really was the case. We were like, oh, okay, we'll make some copies. When we did the beta night, Megan and I were like, if this night goes good and there aren't too many changes, we're gonna start our Kickstarter in probably March. We're gonna have this game out there before summer, and
Whoops.
let's just say there's been a lot of okay, we're pushing it back a little. Okay, we're gonna push it back a little more, and the problem was we did not have dates or deadlines outside of the final one.
Right.
We were just like, yeah, we're gonna do a Kickstarter at this day. Game's not done, doesn't matter. This is when the Kickstarter is. And Stephanie really did come in and was like, no, when can we have, for the stuff that Megan and Bryan were working on, when are we going to have the character concept sketches done? When are we going to have the second look? And you really did keep us all on task, but you helped create the schedule that we had to stick to.
Yeah. Well, it's so important, especially when you start running into working with people who are outside your sphere,
Mm-hmm.
because those people do work on a calendar. So if you wanted to have it by the end deadline, you had, XYZ that you had to do in a certain amount of time in order to also honor where these other people were, like Longboard.
Yeah.
We also had to figure out the questions that we needed to ask of Longboard, of all these other people that were involved, and so that's also a part of the process as well.
Yeah, and if you are out there trying to make something and planning on doing a Kickstarter, there's a whole world of different companies and services and things you don't even know you need. And so the expertise that Stephanie and Bryan brought with that, like, are we going to use a fulfillment company to send this out, or are we going to do it ourselves? Well, that means we have to receive all the stuff at the port and bring it and store it and
package it and mail it. And
did not even think about that back in January when we're like, yeah, the beta night, we're going to do this. It's bank account. Okay. LLC or company or whatever we're going to be. Okay, got to my list is getting a lot longer.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, that's why you bring me in.
But that's why, this is what I thought the list was. And Stephanie says, no, this is really what it is if you want to do it right and, not get sued.
Yeah, that's also very, very important, is you don't want to get sued.
That, you don't want to get in trouble with the IRS.
Yeah, exactly. And also there's also the element of, okay, so you have this game, how do you get it out into the world? How do you let people know about it? So it's not even just a Kickstarter, it's the different expos. Like, Bryan and I had experience with the licensing expo. So I said, have you guys thought about looking into this? And that led us to looking into other expos that we're getting involved in. And it's also finding ways and researching how to be involved in this community that we were in love with and involved with as gamers, the four of us. But then how do you find that switch to become part of the professional community so that you are giving something to that community that somebody else winds up loving as a gamer?
Don't underestimate the value of a really well-written press release.
Yes.
More things I would put on Stephanie's plate. It's like, oh, we need a write-up. And hey, Stephanie, you're not busy.
Right. Yeah, you have to do press releases. You even have to do like pitch decks. It's creating all the bits around the creative stuff. And that can seem daunting and frustrating. But if that's your job, and you let everybody else just do the creative stuff, it's actually really fun and fulfilling, I think, because then you get to essentially hold space for this thing to grow and be meaningful to the people involved without them having to tear their hair out and be like, right, I didn't think I needed a press release.
I think, and what you're saying with everyone having their job, you did really help establish what people were doing. Because there was times when Bryan and Megan were working hard, long hours, figuring out the art stuff, and we didn't have anything. It's like, okay, it's not our time to be working on stuff.
Right.
So, it's okay that we're not busy right now. We're going to be really busy later.
Exactly. And how?
Yeah. And that's what time of clock we're at.
It's a good time of clock,
It
though.
is. It is.
It's an exciting, empowering time of clock.
So, I guess what I'm saying is if you are looking to do any project that you want to sell, get a producer.
Yeah, it's going to make your life so much easier.
Yeah. Also, because then you'll be like, you know what, guys? Stephanie said you need this. It's not me. Stephanie said you had to do it.
I'll take the blame because that's also the job of the producer. So get used to that.
But, so... That's it for the business side of stuff.
It's pretty streamlined. That's how good we are as a team.
Oh yeah.